In this video we're going to look at some really handy keyboard shortcuts. Some of these you'll know, some of these you may not know. First of all, let's look at some shortcuts that work in Word, Excel, PowerPoint and many other programs that require text. So here's one of the Screencast-O-Matic tutorials. Let's first of all look at copy. Most of you probably know this, but Control C will copy some text. Let's say this note, this blue note here, I want to repeat at the end. So Control C on my keyboard copies it, and then Control V will allow me to paste it. Now the other thing I could have done, of course, is to right click, because many of the functions are also right click functions. So if I right clicked, I could have copied there and then gone down here and right click and paste. But the keyboard shortcut is certainly really handy. Let's say for some reason I wanted to cut that out, to cut and paste. So that would be Control X is cut, Control X, and once again down here Control V to paste. Note that when you copy and paste or cut and paste, you can also include pictures. Let's say we want to cut and paste this text and picture to the end. You can see I've highlighted both the text and the picture, so Control X to cut, and then scroll to where you want to put it, and Control V to paste it. So that's another thing. Now in that case, I might just want to reduce the size of that picture just so it would fit. So there's 3 shortcuts already. Other things you may want to do, and again you may know these. Let's say for some reason this is particularly important. We want to bold that. Well, of course we can go up here to bold. But Control B is sometimes quicker. Control I will give you the italics, and Control U will give you the underline. And of course if we go Control U again, Control I again, and Control B again, then they undo all of those tasks. 2 others that are really important, I believe. Control P, and that is to print. And if you don't normally go to this pane to print, I highly recommend that you do. So let's say I'm going to use this particular printer because I'm in IT. One of the most common and handy things that you might want to do is to choose to print more than one page to a page. So to do that, we go into Properties, and here's the layout: 1 page per sheet, or you might want 2 pages per sheet, or you might want 4 pages per sheet, because sometimes we're just editing something and you don't actually need to have an A4 page from an A4 page. So that's a really handy thing. There's other settings in there that I'm not going to go into too much, but that's what I've just shown you there is very handy. And of course here's where you can set out the number of copies, or if you just want pages 2 to 5, you can do it that way, or if you just want to print pages 2, 5 and 7, you can do it that way. So those are some really important and handy features. So that's Control P to bring up print. Another one which is really handy, sometimes we want to copy an entire document into a new one, and Control A will highlight everything, and then from there you could go Control X, because that cuts everything out. And then I decide, whoops, I didn't want to do that, so Control V will paste it back in. To highlight everything, it's a Control A. You will find there are situations where that's it saves scrolling down like this when you want to highlight everything. So that's pretty much it for the shortcuts for Word, Excel, PowerPoint and other similar programs. Let's have a look at some other shortcuts quickly. If you want to bring up a new Windows Explorer, then the Windows button and E will allow you to do that. So there it is. Another really handy shortcut is Windows D, and that's D for desktop. So if we want to have a look at the desktop, there it is. Or we can go Windows D and go back again. Of course, we could hit this button, Show Desktop. And sometimes it's just as quick to do that, but when you get used to shortcuts, you find that they do speed things up, especially if it's something that you do a lot of. Here's another really handy shortcut, Alt-Tab, and it allows you, so if I press Alt and the Tab button, it allows you to flick between programs. So there's my screen capture program, there's my Internet Explorer, there's my Windows Explorer, and that's a Word document. But if I've got 12 programs open and I want to go to another program, then that could be a very fast way of doing it. So that was Alt and Tab, and then you just tab your way through the different programs. Let's have a look at some internet shortcuts. So we've got 3 tabs open here on Windows on Internet Explorer. So if I want another tab, I can press Control T and that brings another one up, and Control T again brings me another tab. Another one is F5 to refresh the page. So if your internet needs refreshing, press F5 on the keyboard and then that internet page is refreshed. The other thing that's really handy with the web is zooming. Sometimes the text on the page is too small, and there's a few ways you can zoom. One of the quick ways, I've got a mouse with a wheel on it, most of you do. If you press Control and then use the wheel of the mouse, I'm turning the mouse towards me and the page is getting smaller, or the print is getting smaller, and now I'm scrolling the mouse away from me and you can see it's getting bigger. So that's Control and wheel mouse. The other thing you can do is go Control and the plus sign will make the text bigger, and Control and the minus sign will make the text smaller. But the Control and spinning the wheel on the mouse is really, really handy. Let's probably cover the most important shortcuts, and you will see on the Moodle a list of those shortcuts if you want to print them out. Hope you got something out of that one.